The reason most founders are stuck isn't because they aren't working hard enough. It's because they built the wrong machine. And in this video, I'm going to give you everything, our exact framework, the exact blueprint we use to help founders install systems, automate operations, and scale their business without relying on themselves. This isn't a teaser. This isn't a vague overview. You're actually getting the full system. Literally, the exact process we use to rebuild and scale companies from operational chaos to streamlined, self-sufficient machines. You're probably wondering why I'm doing this. It's because most of the world teaches you how to hustle, not how to build. They sell you on the hard work, they praise you on the grind, but they never show you how to create a business that doesn't need you in order to survive. They teach you to push harder when things break. But I'm here to show you how to build something that doesn't break in the first place. Because the truth is, freedom doesn't come from working harder. It comes from designing smarter, from engineering systems that remove you from the center and let your business breathe on its own. This is the same framework companies pay us thousands of dollars per month to create, build, install, scale, and automate within their organizations. And I'm giving it away right here for free. Not because I'm generous, but because I'm strategic. I believe trust isn't claimed, it's earned, and transparency is the fastest way to earn it. If you see how deep we dive, how much we give, and how we think, then you'll at least know two things. One, you can take this and implement it yourself, and I'll be cheering you on. Or two, you'll come to us when you realize you don't want to build it alone, and when you want it done right the first time. Either way, you win, and that's the point. I have no interest in gatekeeping. I don't need to protect trade secrets. This isn't about holding on to power. It's about giving it away to people who will use it. Because this right here is my life's work, not just the business, not just a paycheck. I'm not here to be known for making money. I'm here to be known for making a difference. This isn't about building a company. It's about helping you build something that can't be replaced. It's about building a legacy. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the real reason most founders burn out. It's not a lack of ambition. It's a lack of operational structure. Most businesses are built reactively and not proactively. You start with a few clients, add a few hires, and before you know it, you've duct taped your way into a business that only functions because you're holding it together. This is what I call operational debt, which is the hidden cost of growth without structure. You scale revenue, but you don't scale systems. You build momentum, but you don't build muscle. Imagine a plane being built midair. That's what most businesses are. It flies, barely, but every flight is a gamble. Operational debt doesn't show up on a profit and loss statement. It doesn't get flagged by your accountant, but it's there, silently draining your time, your people, and your company's potential. It starts with team misalignment. Your team is busy, but they're not aligned. Everyone is doing their best, but they're all working off different definitions of success. One person thinks a task is done when the email is sent. Another thinks it's done when the client replies. That one difference leads to duplicate work, finger pointing, and a culture of confusion. Execution suffers, and when execution suffers, you, the founder, have to step in and clean up what should have been done right the first time. That's not leadership. That's damage control. Next, it shows up in your founder bottlenecks. You become the human API of your business. Every decision, every approval, every fire, it all routes through you. You're no longer the visionary. You're the traffic cop. The problem isn't your team's capability, it's their dependency. And they can't move forward without your input, which means your business only moves at the speed of your availability. And that's not a system. That's more of like a hostage situation. Then there's the lack of repeatable process. Everything feels urgent. Everything's custom. Your team isn't reinventing the wheel every time a new client signs on. What should take 2 hours takes 6. What should be smooth turns chaotic because nothing is standardized. So your team becomes reactive instead of proactive, always spinning, never scaling. You can't grow a company when every task is a coin toss. And when that happens, when the chaos wears thin, your best people leave. High performers don't quit because the work is hard. They quit because the work is broken. Talented people want clarity. They want to win. But if every day feels like guessing, they'll burn out. And when they go, they take all the knowledge with them. That's how operational debt compounds. Your systems don't just break down, they walk out the front door. And finally, maybe most critically, operational debt kills your valuation. Investors don't buy hustle, they buy repeatability. They want businesses that are systems driven, not founder dependent. And if your processes aren't documented, if your infrastructure isn't internalized, you're not a business. Your business is a liability. And that liability becomes leverage at the negotiation table. Systemic weakness becomes a discount. You don't just lose control, you lose value. So yeah, operational debt is invisible, but it's real. And if you don't address it, it'll cost you everything that you've worked for. Think of your business like a restaurant. If the chef never writes down the recipes and hires cooks without a system, the food might be amazing, but only when that chef is in the kitchen. Take them away, and it all falls apart. Businesses that run on memory instead of method eventually collapse. I've always believed that a business should run like a machine, not just rely on the personality or energy of the person who started it. Your business should be able to work without you, grow without you, and even be sold without you. That's not just a nice idea. That's how you build something that lasts. We follow one simple rule. Write it down, automate it, own it. That's our entire system. Let me explain what that means. First, write it down. That means everything about your business work should be clear and written out. If it only lives in your head, no one else can help. No one else can repeat it, and no one else can teach it. If you're the only one who knows how things work, you'll always be stuck doing it yourself. But when we write it all down, like how we take care of a new customer, how to deliver your service, or how to fix a problem, your team knows exactly what to do. Everyone follows the same steps. It reduces mistakes. People stop guessing, things run smoother. You can step away and the work still gets done. Next is automate it. This means using tools to handle the boring stuff so your people don't have to. If someone on your team is sending the same email, moving the same files, or entering the same info over and over again, they're wasting time. It's slow, it's easy to mess up, and it keeps them from doing the more important work. Automation lets the system do it for them. For example, when a new client signs a contract, the system can then send them a welcome email, update your customer list, start a project, and even let your team know, all by itself. It saves time, it avoids mistakes, and it frees up your team to focus on the work that really matters. Last is own it. This is where most businesses get it wrong. Too many people give away control of their systems. They let outside helpers run their day-to-day, and when those people leave, everything falls apart. That's why we believe in building your systems in-house. You and your team should own everything. Your files, your steps, your tools. That way your business stays strong, no matter who comes or goes. This makes your company more valuable because if someone wants to buy your business one day, they're not buying you. They're buying the machine that you built. When they ask, what happens if you're not here? You'll have to answer. It runs, it grows, and it works. Because you wrote it all down, you automated it, and you own it. That is what Systemyze does. We don't just fix problems, we help founders build machines. Because the best founders don't do everything themselves. They design systems that can do it for them. And that's how you build a business that lasts. We don't believe in bloated consulting. We believe in implementation. That's why our process is built around 4 clear executable phases. We start with what's broken, but in a way that you've never seen. The systems audit is a full body scan of your business. We map out every department, every workflow, every recurring task. We interview your team to understand where the friction hides. One of the first things we do when we begin working with the client is create what we call the clarity map. This isn't just a spreadsheet though. It's not a whiteboard brainstorm. It's a full-scale operational x-ray of your business. It reveals in visual form exactly how your business functions day to day, and more importantly, where it doesn't. We begin by identifying what's currently being done. And I don't mean what you think is happening, I mean what's actually happening. We map out every task, every step, every touch point your team executes, from the top of the funnel to the final invoice. That includes all formal processes like your CRM workflows and documented SOPs. But more importantly, it includes the informal stuff, The Slack messages, the back channel approvals, the I always just do it this way routines your team has adopted over time without writing them down. This is where we surface what we call shadow processes, things that aren't in any manual but are part of the daily grind. These become dangerous over time because they create dependencies on individuals, not systems. And when those individuals leave or they burn out, the knowledge goes with them. The clarity map brings these invisible processes into the light and turns them into something we can work with, something we could fix, or something we can use to implement into the new system. Next, we identify who's responsible for every single task and workflow in your business. But we don't assign responsibility by name, we assign it by role. That distinction matters because if a process is Jessica's job and Jessica quits, that process is now gone. But if it's owned by the client success manager role, that process remains stable, even if the person changes. It's built into the structure of your business, not the personality of your team. This level of clarity also reveals something most founders don't ever see, which is overlapping responsibility and ownership gaps. Sometimes multiple people are unknowingly working on the same thing, leading to duplication. Other times, no one takes ownership because everyone assumes someone else is doing it. The result? Nothing gets done, or it gets done twice, poorly. And finally, the clarity map exposes where duplication, delay, and confusion are occurring in brutal detail. We find where workflows are breaking down, where tasks are sitting untouched because no one knew they were assigned to it, where projects stall out between departments due to lack of follow-through. We identify areas where too many people are involved, making decisions slow, or not enough people are involved, making decisions uninformed. We look for repeat mistakes, rework, and tasks that constantly fall through the cracks, not just by accident, but by design. These inefficiencies hide in plain sight. They become normal. You build workarounds, you accept them as the cost of doing business, but the truth is they're not normal. They're not necessary, and they're not sustainable. Once the clarity map is complete, you no longer have to guess where your business is leaking time and money. You'll be able to see it right in front of you visually, objectively. And when you can see it, you can fix it. That's the power of clarity. And that's the foundation we build everything else on, because you cannot systemize what you don't understand. And the clarity map gives you a complete understanding for the first time, possibly ever. This matters because you can't fix what you don't see. Most founders are guessing, and the clarity map gives them the data they need. For example, one founder thought their sales were slowing down, but it wasn't a sales issue. It was a fulfillment lag. Onboarding took 7 business days, and prospects felt that drop in energy. And once we saw that, we were able to rewire fulfillment, and sales recovered. See, once we know the gaps, we build your core operating system. That includes SOPs, departmental playbooks, templates and checklists, and role clarity documents. So let's start with SOPs. Standard operating procedures, or SOPs, are the backbone of operational consistency. We break down each task, process, or workflow into a sequence of clearly written, easy to follow steps. These guides remove the ambiguity from execution and ensure that no matter who is doing the task, it gets done the same way every time. SOPs are also serve as great training tools for new hires, reducing ramp-up time and helping team members self-serve instead of constantly asking for help. Whether if it's how to onboard a client, process a refund, or launch a marketing campaign, your SOPs become the single source of truth. Next would be departmental playbooks. A departmental playbook is kind of like an instruction manual for each business unit, whether it be sales, operations, marketing, finance, you get it. It outlines key responsibilities, workflows, protocols, and cross-functional dependencies. These playbooks create internal consistency across all departments and eliminate siloed thinking. Everyone knows how the department operates, how it integrates with others, and what's expected from them. This standardization allows your business to scale without losing quality or cohesion as you add more people. After that is templates and checklists. Every recurring process should have a pre-built structure. Templates give you that head start, so to speak, while checklists ensure nothing falls through the cracks. We create templated documents for proposals, reports, emails, and client deliverables, so your team never starts from scratch. Checklists are integrated into workflows to provide step-by-step assurance that tasks are complete thoroughly. These tools reduce cognitive load, prevent human error, and improve the team's confidence in daily execution. And finally, role clarity docs. One of the biggest causes of inefficiency in a growing company is unclear ownership. Role clarity docs eliminate that by defining each position's responsibilities, KPIs, recurring tasks, decision rights, and communication expectations. These aren't fluffy job descriptions, they are operational documents that outline what success looks like in each role. They prevent overlapping duties, empower accountability for your team, and give managers a clear framework for performance reviews and coaching. This ensures your team knows where the lines are drawn and where their focus should be. So we centralize all this information in Notion or your tool of choice, and we build it in a way where your team can actually use it. Because if you leave and the business breaks, you don't have a business. You have a job with overhead. I always like to ask, if you disappeared tomorrow, what would stop working? That is what we systemize. Now that your systems are documented, we automate the repetitive. So once we write down and organize how your business runs, it's time to make things easier and faster by using automation. That means letting technology do the boring stuff so your team doesn't have to. We start by looking for tasks that don't need human thinking. If a job follows the same steps every time and doesn't need creativity, we can probably automate it. Things like sending welcome emails, updating customer info, making reports, or setting reminders. If it can be done with a rule or a button, a machine should handle it, not a person. Then we look for things that happen over and over again. If your team does the same task more than once a week, that adds up fast. Imagine someone sends the same email 10 times a week. That's hours of time lost. We look for those repeat tasks and we set up automations to take them off your team's plate. We also find tasks that waste a lot of time when done by hand. Stuff like copying files, typing the same data into different systems, or sending the same messages every single day. These jobs are not just slow, they're easy to mess up. Automation makes them faster and more accurate, so things don't fall through the cracks as much. To make all this work, we use tools. Now, these tools do vary based on what you do, but let's say, for example, one of them is Zapier. Zapier is able to communicate between other workflows. So when someone signs a contract, Zapier can automatically update your system, message your team, and start a new project. No one has to do it by hand. It just happens. Another tool we use is called Make. It's a bit more advanced, but something changes based on type of client or project. Make helps us build those smart rules. It's great for things that are a little bit more complex. We also use CRMs, and that's where we keep track of your customers and leads. With automation, the CRM can update itself, send emails, assign tasks, and keep your sales team moving forward without needing reminders. And finally, we bring automation into your project management tools, like ClickUp or Asana, for example. These tools help your team stay organized. We set them up so tasks are created automatically, deadlines are added, and progress is easy to track. Your team already knows what to do next without having to ask. When all this comes together, your business starts to move on its own. And it's faster, it's smoother, and your team has more time to do the important work, not just the busy work. So that's how you stop running your business by hand and start building one that runs by itself. That's how you systemize it. But we don't start with the tools, we start with principles. Automation only works if the process it's automating is solid. For example, one client used to manually onboard every client with 4 emails, 3 forms, 2 internal reminders, whatever. By building a single automation, it was reduced to 1 click and saved about 2 to 4 hours per client. This is the step most people ignore, but it's the most important. You can have the best SOPs in the world, but if your team doesn't use them, they're completely worthless. So once we've built your systems and set up your automations, we don't just hand everything over and hope your team figures it out. We actually walk with you step by step through the entire rollout, because great systems only work if your team knows how to use them. We start by teaching each department how the new systems work. We don't just give your team a bunch of documents and say, bye, good luck. We host training sessions where we actually explain exactly how everything flows, why it's built the way it is, and how to use it the right way. We walk them through the tools, we answer their questions, and we give them time to practice using everything in all situations. The goal isn't just understanding, it's confidence. We want your people to feel like pros, not like they're learning a brand new language. Next, we make sure every single system has someone who owns it, because if no one's in charge of a system, it's gonna fall apart. So we help you assign the right people to take care of each part, whether it's a checklist, a dashboard, or a tool. That person is responsible for keeping it up to date, improving it over time, and fixing it if something goes wrong. This is how we make sure your systems don't just work today, they keep working long into the future. We also don't roll everything out at once. That would be overwhelming and your team would be in complete chaos. Instead, we use something called sprints. That means we take it one step at a time. We launch one system, test it, gather feedback, and only then do we move on to the next. It's calm, focused, and gives your team the time to really learn and adjust without burning out. We treat your business like a living product, something that's always getting better layer by layer. And finally, we track how well everything's doing. We don't just assume it's going fine, we measure it. We look at the numbers. Are tasks getting done on time? Are things breaking? Is the team following the new processes? Are clients happier? Most importantly. And we also check in regularly with your team to ask what's working, what's confusing, and what needs to change. This kind of feedback makes sure your systems aren't just installed, they're improving. Look, at the end of the day, we're not just here to help build tools. We're here to help your business transform. Because when we leave, the systems don't. They stay and they keep working for you. And here's the truth most founders don't want to hear, but your business is only as valuable as its independence. The more it relies on you, the less someone will pay for it. And what that means is if you ever want to sell your company, hire another CEO, step away from, for health, family, or whatever lifestyle, then you need a self-sustaining operation. This is what we do. Systems equals scalability. Scalability equals freedom. Freedom equals optionality. Buyers don't buy your hustle, they buy your systems. And we've helped founders increase their company valuation by removing themselves from the day-to-day and installing documented, internalized systems that scale. This is where effort turns into equity. So you now have a high-level overview of our framework, every concept, every tool, every method we use to help founders escape that chaos and build a sustainable, scalable business. You've seen the systems, the exact architecture behind a business that runs without hand-holding. You've seen the strategy, the thinking that turns bottlenecks into blueprints. You've seen the structure, the repeatable process that transforms operations from reactive to proactive. And yet most won't act. You'll nod, you'll feel inspired, and maybe you'll save this video to a playlist, but tomorrow they'll wake up to the same fires, the same broken handoffs, and the same team that's waiting on them for the answers. Why? Because information without action changes nothing. But if you're still watching, if you made it to this point, then I believe you're different. You're not here for information, you're here for transformation. If you're the kind of founder who's ready to trade chaos for clarity, who's ready to stop being the glue that holds everything together, who's done duct taping your business and finally wants to build something that runs, grows, and sells without you, then this is your next move. Click the link in the description below to book a call. We'll do what we do best. We'll audit your systems. We'll find that friction, and we'll show you exactly where you're leaking time, money, and potential. And if we're the right fit, we'll build it together. This isn't consulting or a service. This is architecture. This is infrastructure. This is your business, rebuilt with intention, not reaction. We're not here to patch holes. We're here to build engines.